Shalom.
Shalom.
First and foremost, we give all praise and glory unto
Yahweh, Ba'Shem, Yahushai, Ba'Shem, HaKadosh.
Double honors unto the elders of Apostle Great Millstone, the elders Great Millstone, and of course, peace and blessings unto the hopeful elect, the sincere servants of Yahweh, Ba'Shem, Yahushai, serving Him truth and sincerity. Of course, we're out here, of course, in Babylon, great teaching the word of Yahweh, Ba'Shem, Yahushai. And hey, it's a lot of things happening, as we understand, we're in the end times. If you can give real quick Revelation chapter 13 and 16. Because hey, recently you just had an article going to how Apple is preparing, pretty much for integration, with the brain implant. So what? Pretty much that they're preparing, the iPhone, iPad, and the Apple Vision Pro, to be, used with that implant. And as we know, of course, what Esau's going to come with his many signs and wonders, and as well, we understand that the implant, that C-hip is spoken about within, of course, the Bible, within the book of Revelation, and we're about to read it.
Yep, this is the book of Revelation, chapter 13, verse 16. And he causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads.
Yeah, and it causes all, meaning he's going to mandate this mark to be what it says, either in your right hand or in the forehead. So what? And of course that's speaking about certain man. As we know, we can look up different precepts to get who that man is. 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 and 8 goes into how the wicked will be revealed, and how he's going to come after the working of Satan, in all power, signs, and lying wonders. That's going into Esau Edom, which what the scripture's going to Esau Edom. Of course, but that links up today to be the so-called white man. He's the one who's making these things come to pass. The elites, they're all Amalek being the chief tribe of the nation Edom. Pretty much being those people in the land who call themselves the people or the children of Israel today. Which they're counterfeits. But the point is that Amalek, the chief tribe of the nation Edom, the small hats, they're at the top, and they of course want these things. The international banking families.
Yeah, I got a precept.
You got that real quick?
Yeah. So this is the book of Revelation 6 and 4. It says, and there went out another horse that was red, and power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth, and that they should kill one another, and there was given unto him a great sword.
Yeah, exactly. And that dragon, that's going into Esau. Of course, and he's been given that great sword, because as we know, that's one of Esau's blessings. Getting Genesis chapter 27, you get where Isaac blesses Esau with the dew of heaven, the fatness of the earth, as well as a blessing of the sword. So right now Esau's ruling with the sword, and of course, what is a sword? The modern day sword, ultimately, the ultimate modern day sword, of course, starts with the missiles, and of course it goes on to Esau's military. So pretty much Esau's military and his weaponry is the sword. Which again, the ultimate weapon are those nuclear missiles. So Esau's been able to rule the earth through his course by his sword, by his military. That's why he's so blessed. Of course, that's why he's at the top. We can get Job chapter 9:24, where it says how the whole earth has been given to his hands. So now that Esau's, of course, Esau's been ruling, he wants his agenda to pass, which ultimately his final goal, his ultimate agenda is to get, the whole world C-hipped. To make everybody take that mark. That's what he wants. So now he's connected with these, big tech companies such as Apple. And we already know, the rest of them are going to follow suit. Tesla, Microsoft, so on and so forth. We already know that all of them are aligned, of course, with the beast to make the agenda come to pass, which is get everybody see it. So Khan, you can go back.
Yep. Reading again, Revelation 13 and 16, it says, and he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. And that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name.
Yeah, Khan, so you can go ahead and get the word for mark within the Greek.
Yep. Word mark here, charagma, right? G5480. And And if you go to definition 2, it says thing carved, sculpture, graven work. And the Strong's definition says a scratch or an etching.
Yeah, scratch or etching. So it's clearly something that's 100% tangible.
Bring the camera.
Yeah, so it's clearly something that's 100% tangible.
Right.
You know, so it's not anything, it's not something spiritual, it's not Christianity, it's not, you know, well, whatever these guys say. No, it's something that's 100% tangible, meaning it's a physical thing.
Right.
And what goes into scratch or etching.
It's not a belief that, you know, you walk into the local Acme and you have the belief of Christianity that allows you to buy or sell, because you can have a belief of any faith and still be able to buy or sell. This is something that you physically have to have on you, in you, to buy or sell. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
You could easily just lie.
Yeah,
Lie, like,
exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, exactly. And what the scriptures say, how those who take it are going to have a grievous sore. So, you know, how's Christianity, you know, going to make you get cancer?
Right. You got to understand that this thing that it's referring to in Revelation is something that has a sort of what do you call it? Not wealth, but it has a number attached to it, so to speak, right? Because you hit, like in the movie In Time, right? In Time kind of shows you, it signifies that C-hip, you know, but they translate to time, right? So they bought and sold everything with time that was on their arm.
Yep.
So there is going to be, you know, a sort of money attached to
Right.
the hip, because there's no other way you'd be able to buy or sell. Like I said, you can't. Christianity is not tangible. The way you think, all right, about a certain topic is not tangible. You can't just like your looks. You can't just walk into the store and buy a bag of groceries with just your looks. All right,
Yeah.
It has to be something that you got to work for, and then they give it to you. You know, like just like a credit-based system. You know, and if you have a credit card or whatever you have, you know, tangible money. You know, this is going to be something they're going to swap over to, and you won't be able to legally buy or sell anything unless you have, you know, this form of transaction.
Yeah, exactly. You know, when people think about the scriptures, they think about it in an abstract, pretty much it's just an abstract, not tangible meaning. No, when the scriptures, of course, when the scriptures go into many prophecies, is literally speaking about something that's real and physical, including this mark. But of course, what the scriptures break it down, of course, in more of a way of code. Obviously, it's not going to be RFID implant within the KJV, or within the Hebrew, obviously, because those words didn't exist back then. But what again? These things have been revealed from the past. Again, it was thousands of years ago. But what for example, John Revelator was seeing was this things that we're seeing right now. But he was using the best terms that he had to describe it. Yeah, so it goes into scratch or etching because that's going to be the way how they put it, pretty much inside of the people who take it, by the way of incision. So it's going to be scratched or etched into the skin. So obviously, it's you can't inject Christianity into somebody physically, by the way of by the way to etch it into. No, obviously that's going into something tangible, something physical.
And then you look at what Esau's been doing, and these other nations that are in league with Esau, Edom. You see what they've been doing, the push they've been doing for technology. All signs lead to this type of what you would call sci-fi technology, man. Things that you would see back in the early or the late '80s, early '90s of tech and sci-fi has really become a reality now. It's all reality. It's not this science fiction of what Esau wants to do. All right, this is a very 100% real. Okay, this is something that Esau, Edom, and the elites have been practicing and trying to conjure up for many years now, and setting up ways since then. Now you got like things like near-field communications. All the things are set up. You go to any old gas station, even in the hood somewhere, even in poorer areas, you got near-field communications. Just go up in there. You got the tap feature on your phone. Just go up there, boom. So you see the health industry, how they're pushing for for implantable devices in the health industry, right? So it's only setting up the blocks, you know, the dominoes, so to speak, to inevitably enact this you know, this new way of system, this new system.
Yeah, that's right. You know, Esau reveals everything that he's about to do, you know, by the way of predictive program.
Yep.
You know, they do that as, you know, pretty much a mocking ritual.
Yeah, yep.
Onto the masses. You know, they put in your face so that, you know, once it comes, you know, you pretty much so use you know, the argument that you can't blame them.
Yep.
Because they, you know, they already put it out there.
Yeah. Plus, you know, Esau Edom being a master narcissist and just a gaslighter, right? So he'll literally tell you all the stuff he's gonna do. He's like, I'm not gonna do that. That's not what it's for. You know, I'm not gonna. You know, you're crazy for thinking that. You know, tries to gaslight you basically, and you know, the people get quickly fooled by it, man. They just lay down and take it. You know, but that's the, you know, the Lord's ultimate plan, right? It's not meant to be in your face, right? Like the brother said, like it's not gonna say, hey, this is how the Esau Edom gonna do it. This is how you can avoid it. This is, you know, no, it's in there cryptic, right? Just like how Shai spoke cryptic, it's only for the elect to believe, you know. So realistically, if you can't get it, man, that's on you, you know. But Esau Edom still is 100% coming with this way of system, you know.
Yeah. And that's how you know it's only for the elect, because here we are, you know, we bringing out the scriptures, you know, we breaking it down. You know, the only thing that makes sense is for it to be the implant.
Yep.
You know, and you still have people who don't want to believe it. You know, you may have those who's too prideful to admit that they're on the wrong, you know, with the situation. You know, they always every week is a different breakdown for the MOTB. That's how you know these guys don't got it, man. You know, and they don't want to get it. You know.
Yeah, that's right. And of course, what I know to the brother's point, you know, what. Pretty much, again, Yahweh Shai has made it where only the elect are going to get it anyways, you know, from the scriptures. Of course, you know, only the elect are going to understand it 100%. Mm-hmm. And what? Ultimately, the Lord has it where, you know, Esau puts out these certain things, you know, we can of course, understand it, you know, what Esau's doing, you know, the different messages he's putting out. Ultimately, what? It's not, you know, it's not designed for the masses to get, man.
Yep. And ultimately, you know, you all that got a problem with it, you got to take that up with the Most High, man. You got to take that up with the Most High. The Most High didn't make it, you know, in words easy to be understood, all right? And the scriptures, all right, the Bible has stood the test of time. So we know that this is a book of real value, okay? This is, I got a precept.
You got it.
Is Psalms 10 and 2. It says, the wicked in his pride doth persecute the poor, right? That's what I said, right? Esau being a master manipulator, master gaslighter, right? In his pride, man, he does it with proudly, boastfully, you know. Act like who gonna judge me? Because remember, the scriptures also talk about how he's sitting above the Most High, thinking he is the Most High, because he was able, in his own mind, he thinks he was able to, you know, capture and keep the Lord's people down. Get this guy on camera. This guy recording this.
Ooh, the nigga in the car.
So, in the wicked in his pride doth persecute the poor, let them be taken in the devices that they have imagined. So, when you look at the word devices, all right, it's schemes or plots, which in return ultimately translates to that main device, an actual device being that seed. But I'll read it again, let you break it down, get the word for it. It's Isaiah 10 and 2 says, the wicked in his pride doth persecute the poor. Let them be taken in the devices that they have imagined.
Yeah, Con, real quick, yeah, that's a good point, because what? Esau, what? That's what he does. You know, you can get Isaiah chapter 32 and 6, it says, for the vile person will speak villainy, and his heart will work iniquity. It says to practice hypocrisy, and to utter error against the Lord Yahweh, to make empty the soul of the hungry. It says, and you will cause the drink of the thirsty to fail. Yeah, and ultimately what Esau setting up where, you know, we're already in a downtrodden state. You know, he wants to, you know, of course, what further destroy us as a people. We can get Psalm chapter. Psalm chapter 83, where it pretty much goes into how you know, Esau, including the other nations, you know, they want to destroy the nation of Israel. You know, do away with the nation of Israel. So ultimately Esau sets it up where everything, you know, that he does hits us the hardest. You know, with this whole system, what he designs it first and foremost to be against our people. so-called blacks, Native Americans, Latinos. You know, that's what when of course, you know, going to the scriptures about the description of the Israelites, what they go through, the blessings and the cursings, or the curses, it of course links up to our people.
Yep.
Yep. I want to bring out the word devices in the Hebrew. Matazama in the Hebrew, all right, it says purpose, discretion, device, or plot. A purpose, discretion, and then it says devices, and then it says in parentheses evil.
Yeah. So behind closed doors, you know, Esau's strategizing and planning to eliminate our people. You know, but to ultimately separate us from the Most High, because he understands that what's wrong with the elect, we're the Lord's people, man. What he wants to separate us, because you know, Esau, of course, has done a lot of research. If you don't eventually, you know, do something with the Israelites, you know, eventually they're gonna rise up again. You know what? Throughout all these different captivities.
Yep, and that's why Esau keeps that bread and circuses, right? So the masses of our people can stay asleep. You know, that way they have something that our people have something to believe in, right? They see the majority of our people, you know, playing baseball, boxing, right, in an NFL, right, Jake, all in these sports, and that's where they can get paid the most at. So you know, that's where you know, his aspiration, you know, excels to. Like, okay, I can get famous, I can have a big following, right. I can, you know, get into sports, right? That's what my ancestors fought for. My ancestors fought to be able to be in sports and be accepted by the damn master, by the white man.
And vote.
Yeah, be able to vote. Yeah. So all this smoke and mirrors, all this BS, you know, all this to try to make it here in America, and they don't realize that they're actually God's princes and rulers, man.
Right. That's right.
So they're being sold a dream that's actually selling them short from it all. So I'm going to get the strongest definition for the word devices. I think it goes in there a little bit more elaborately, I would say. It says a plan, usually evil, and it says machination. And I can look up the Strong's definition, or the Merriam-Webster's definition for machination, because it's good. It's just basically a plot or a scheme. All right, so you got to understand, and that's why when you like go into things like the Masons, right, the Illuminati and all that, they are a devised group of elites, of Edomites that have planned together to long for and keep Jake down. So you gotta understand that these plots that he had set up has been set up from long time ago, right? And we know that Esau has been has habitually shown that he is nothing more than a damn deceiver and a man of unrighteousness, right? With his plots and his schemes. Look at the Roman Empire. You look at the Borgia family, right? What the hell they did and how they sought to rule the world and stuff. The different lies that they came up with to try to get other kingdoms, you know, to bow to them, right? We know how Esau came here to the Americas and it tricked the Gadites and the Reubenites and Issachar, right? All this, you know, the northern kingdom. How he tricked them into thinking that they were peaceful people, but really just, you know, came to destroy them.
I don't know. Yeah.
So they're nothing but scheming, wicked plots. Okay, all the way up to and including that MOTB CHIP. Okay. Yep. So it says a wicked device, discretion, intent. And it says a witty invention, right? You could say that the C-hip is a witty invention, man. A thing invented. And then he's gonna have all y'all believing like that's something to, you know, something great, you know? Cause you speak about it now, and the guys out here like, oh, I'm not, you know, there ain't no way gonna be able to put something in my body. You know, everyone thought that same way about a damn mask around their face. Well, you can't tell me what to do, but how many people end up going and getting masks around their face? How many people, in order to survive in the everyday world, got that juice? You know, got the juice, yeah.
Yep.
So it goes to show you how weak these people are when things start getting rough. Okay, when the pressure starts getting applied to them, they'll really do anything to go back to normal society. You know, so that was just a trial run to show you how fickle, okay, y'all people are.
Yep, I got a precept. So this is the book of Sirach 12:10. Never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, so just going into, you know, what the brother said, you know, just going back to the history of this man. you just realize that, you can't trust anything, that the man says. All right, everything that he says is not for your benefit. All right, everything he says is not for the well-being of everybody. No, it's just for him, right? For him to profit. All right, for him to be exalted. All right,
and a lot of y'all people have you can't understand or fathom how Esau-Edom is really Jake's enemy, man.
Right.
Esau-Edom is 100% Jake's #1 enemy from birth. Okay, from birth. Okay, when Esau, all right, or when Jacob held the heel of Esau, that was symbolization of bringing Esau down, just like they were tussling in the womb. All right, from birth, he has been our natural born enemy. But the majority of our people can't possibly fathom that. Sorry, go ahead.
Yep. No, I gotta I get a precept for that.
Read 924.
Joe?
Had it. Yeah.
No, not yet. You can bring it up.
Yep, here we are. This is Ezekiel 35, and we'll start at verse 1. It says, "Moreover, the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Mount Seir, and prophesy against it," going into the Edomites, "and say unto it, Thus saith the Lord Yahweh, behold, O Mount Seir, I am against thee, and I will stretch out mine hand against thee, and I will make thee most desolate. It says, I will lay thy cities waste, and thou shalt be desolate, and thou shalt know that I am the Lord, because thou hast had a perpetual hatred, and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword in the time of their calamity, in the time that their iniquity had an end." Yeah, going into that perpetual hatred. The brother was going into how Jacob and Esau, right, they're enemies. Okay,
yeah, you gotta understand, man, what Esau-Edom did to our people, man. Like,
right.
he basically took us, and we were in a beautiful place. Well, not necessarily. We were better off. He took us, brought us over in this land, right? Captured us, destroyed us. Right now, we all know that was ultimate from the Lord because we were going away. But you gotta understand that what Esau-Edom did, because some of y'all Jakes, man, or a lot of y'all Jakes, can't get past that. Like, or you basically accept it for what it was, right? He took you, put you here, gave you this facade of things to look forward to, but it's so out of your scope of what you're destined for. Just like Ezra said, if the world was made for our sakes, why do we not then possess an inheritance? The majority of Jake does not have that mindset, man. They're just happy living in this BS, just being nonchalant with everything that you have to accept and have to see on your day-to-day, all the wickedness that you have to see on the day-to-day. You have to bend, basically bend over backwards, basically for Esau-Edom and other nations, just to get a little bit of something. Just get the crumbs off the table. You can't have a voice of your own, especially when you get higher up in the echelon. You definitely can have a voice of your own, because Esau will quickly shut that shit down.
Yeah.
And damn puppet, man.
Yeah, and Jake has a problem, Stockholm syndrome. Jake always want to preach in equality, being equal, with the Edomites. Yep. All right, but the Lord has chosen the Israelites over the Edomites and over all heathen nations. All right, Jake has a problem with that, and even like the sign that the elders holding, if you tell them that what the real image of what Yahweh Shah would look like, they'd be like, nah, man, and then they'll point to that image. They'll worship that image.
Yeah, exactly. You gotta understand that too. And I remember, like, a lot of times, like, I remember when we went to that museum, the slavery museum. Yeah. They basically touched it on a small surface. But you gotta understand, this image right here that Esau-Edom put up, you gotta understand what this did to our people and what it continues to do to our people. All right, all the hell and slavery that we caught and the facade that Esau had put up. Our people to this still day are victims of that, man. They're victims of that oppression, whether or not it's physical chains or not. This right here being one of the main chains that's on our people, and he put this up many, many years ago when the people still betwixt by it, right? And this is evil, man. This is evil to basically call himself this man. And this was a wicked, evil man, all right? All right, that famous painting, the Last Supper, which shows nothing but a bunch of white people at the table.
That's self-hatred.
Yeah.
Ludovico Sforza. commissioned that painting.
Yep.
And he was a Moor. He was a descendant of the Moors. All right. His nickname was El Moro, Ludovico Sforza. He was an ancestor of Giovanni Sforza that married Lucretia Borgia, and they got divorced. So that was self-hatred. That was an Israelite that commissioned the Last Supper painting, and that's Edomite supremacy, so-called white supremacy. All right. Now this is not the image in the Book of Revelation. All right. It says the image,
Right.
and the mark and the number of his name. This is not the image. All right. The image is referring to the system of government. All right. The mark is the implantable microchip.
Yes.
The number is the implantable microchip.
Yes.
All right. That's what it is. So if you take that mark, you get it cut in your flesh. That's the that you'll be able to buy and sell.
Yep.
If you get the mark put into your body. All right.
Yep.
It says receive in your right hand or your forehead. There's Job 9:24. Well, Isaiah 42 and 22. But this is the people robbed and spoiled. They are all of them snared in holes. All right? And they are hid in prison houses. Therefore pray and none delivereth for the spoil, and none saith restore. All right? So this is the prison house they're in. This is one of the images that trap our people's mind.
Yep.
They worship this demonic ass image.
Yeah, exactly.
God, and then they want to argue with you without facts.
Yeah.
They argue with you based upon what they already believe was taught to them by their previous slave, physical slave masters.
Yes. Or they'll
plantation Christianity.
Or they'll dance around and be like, yeah, I mean, he's olive covered. But that's not even the argument at this point. It's the fact that you were not taking into consideration the lie that was betold and how much it tricked our people. Because you have the one guy like, oh yeah, like, I don't believe in that image. Okay, but you still got to understand that Esau, Edom, the damn devil, all right, who the brother got the priest that he's gonna bring out, he had tricked all of. You got to acknowledge it. You acknowledge that he deliberately did that. Okay, that was a what is that called? A planned motive. It was a planned motive to put that man up.
It was
preemptive, right? Yeah. Yeah. There's a word I'm specifically looking for, but yeah, there's a pre-planned motive to trick our people. Premeditated. Yeah. But they want to ignore the main fact, right? They don't want to.
Because overall they're fucking stupid.
Yeah,
because that's really the main problem. They're acting fucking stupid.
Because they try to make it a color thing. Then they'll make it a color thing, and then they'll double down on their stupidity and be like, well, what about him? Ain't he white? Because they don't understand.
Well, we didn't say that. You're talking about different arguments.
Exactly. They try to conflate the two. They conflate the two.
They're conflating two different arguments. We're talking about what the color of the Lord was.
Exactly.
Not what color another brother standing next to us is walking down the street.
We're
talking about what color the Lord is according to the scriptures.
Exactly.
And the color the Israelites mainly were was the so-called black and brown, which means very dark brown skin or to medium to light brown skin. Or then you have people that were scattered and that are biracial or interracial marriages and relationships. They come out looking like Esau or close to Esau or the other nation.
Yeah, any other nation.
They got a comprehension problem. That's the main problem, and that's the spirit making them stupid. The scriptures tell you that in Deuteronomy 28th chapter that they're fucking stupid. All right.
Yeah.
And when Jeremiah 2, it said Sodom's children.
Sodom's children.
So Hard-hearted. Job 9:2-4. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? So he covered the face of the true judge.
Yeah, because
the other one out.
Yeah, because that's the other thing they try to say. That how many times we heard the story? Well, there's many wicked. Everyone's wicked. There's wicked amongst all nations. Like no, the main wicked. The main wicked who did this.
Again, they're talking about a different argument. We're talking about the wicked.
They don't want to stay on track. They want to stay on track. They want to stay on track.
Given into the hand of the wicked, and that wicked nation, those people have the ability to actually cover the true face up. Not all wicked people have the ability to cover the true face up, you dumbasses.
Yeah, exactly.
Stick to the subject.
All
right, we're talking about the wicked, okay?
100%.
THE wicked, all right? So this is the true judge, the image of the true judge, and it was covered up. Cover the image up.
There you go.
All right, so the Edomites covered the image up. Right, the so-called white man.
And had everyone believe in this. I mean, you go across all nations. A lot of even the other nations that believe in so-called Christianity believe in this image right here.
Yeah, that was the image they believed in Kenya, right? The Cesare Borgia,
Fucking, you know, our people eat it up the most. You know, you got the Latin tribes, man. They love that damn Mother Mary on the freaking side of their door. They love that Cesare Borgia.
Across the rear view mirror, the cross on the rear view mirror, or an image, or the image of Cesare.
And that's the most important, right, man? You covered the true face up, put this image up, and then that's what's holding the body. That's that stronghold, like the brother said, a prison. Another word for prison is a stronghold. There's a stronghold that our people are bound in. So we can't possibly see anything outside of this wickedness.
Yeah, and they'll try to have any excuse to have it up. Oh well, you know, it was a gift.
Yeah,
you know,
right,
this, you know, that excuse. Okay, well you gotta what is more important, a gift or Yahweh Shem Yahushai?
And then we've done the social experiment where we put a big sign down. And they say they don't believe it. I remember the guys like, well, I don't believe that image. Like, oh, then step on it then. Then step on it then. And they won't step on it. Oh, I don't want to step. Go ahead and step. We stepped on it. Go ahead and step on it. They don't want to step on it because the stigma that this has on our people. Yeah, they'd rather drop dead than do that. You know.
I remember Elder Gabar. Apostle Bar.
Oh, kicked it. Yeah.
Old video probably was in his 30s.
Yeah, it was old.
He had the multicolored garment on. Yep. Elder Gabar nukes Bridgeport.
Yeah. Kicked it. Yeah.
Oh, like a punt. Yeah.
I don't know if y'all seen the video, but
take it back.
It was like it was a heavier sound than this.
Yeah.
But he did it in a way with it. He kicked it perfectly. Like damn. Okay.
Yep.
So let's see. So this is the true image.
Yep. And you gotta understand that when it comes down to like that lie that he told, it's not something you just glance over. You know, like I said before, like the amount of things that you don't understand that the ramifications of slavery that our people have been in, to this day, still have a stronghold on our people, and they try to make it seem like, oh, that was in the past. That wasn't me. That was my ancestors. You have it better now. You have the same privileges that white people have now than back then. They try to like,
it's still
exactly 100%.
I mean, look, if you work for an Edomite, they have agendas, all right, and they're really, really rich. So you have certain companies that will hire mostly so-called blacks and Latinos. But you have other companies that want to keep they're making billions and billions and millions of dollars anyway. They don't need a little bit of extra money from the government because they hired a so-called minority. They can just keep things a little fairer skin, you know, and keep things a certain way. That's discrimination. Now they can legally, well, that's actually illegal, but you can't even prove it. You can't prove it.
Yep.
So, look, we're not a believer that we're all equal just because the laws say that we're equal. We know
so-called
that
equal opportunity.
So-called racist by, no, he's an authentic racist by default. We don't believe you, okay? We don't have to believe you. We don't believe you. We don't believe that there's equal rights for everybody. We believe that police have extraordinary powers.
Yeah.
Like a police chief pulled a weapon and assaulted a man, and he got paid leave.
Yeah.
I just saw a video. I'm like, what the fuck? He wasn't even pulled over. The dude pulled over. He had an interaction with him previously. He waved him off or whatever. I guess the guy committed some kind of traffic infraction. Then a few minutes later, the guy pulls over and parks. He gets off his bike, and I don't believe the cop even lit his lights up. And he gets off his bike, and then he pulls his weapon on him and starts wrestling with him. Wrestling with the dude, the cop. His lights wasn't on anything. Pulled a weapon on him. And I don't think the dude knew he was even a cop. He was actually wrestling with him with the gun in his hand. With all of the, I think it was the Issachar ended up running away. You know? Then they found the tape. They arrested him later, and then they found the surveillance tape, and then charges were dropped. And he's on a paid desk duty or leave. Like, so we still believe that, and that's the institution of Edomites, whether Jake did that or a Judite or a Mexican or Issachar-He, Ephraimite did that. They're under the institution of Edomite supremacy.
Yep.
All right. But it's mainly going to be Edomites to do stuff like that, get away with shit like that. Based on the population of where the police are, but they have those powers to do that, and that's legal. They don't get the same punishments that you do. All right, the police do not get the same punishments that you do. Very rarely that you'll see cops tied up in court getting indicted. When you see a cop getting indicted, like, oh shit, he getting felony charged, But still, they could still dismiss the charges, even though you get charged with it. You may not get convicted of a felony.
If I can say too,
extraordinary.
And you know, it has in this day and age gone out like to a color thing, right? It's mainly like the darker you are, the more you know, whatever, right? The more abuse you'll receive from Esau Edom. But we know that it's beyond just color, because how many times you see maybe an Edomite act like a Jake, or a Jake that's, you know, fair skinned act like a so-called act like a Jake. You know, what does Esau do? Also, stop acting like a nigger or like that. They get mad at the swag in which they use. So it's not about just the skin color in itself. It's about how you act. If you acting like a Jake, you're acting like Judah, acting like because you know all the tribes for the most part emulate Judah, you know, in some sort of fashion. But if you're acting like in a certain type of way, Esau gets mad at that way in which you're acting, not just the color itself. So it's more than just, to Esau Edom, it's more than just a color thing, okay? Even though they mainly try to equate it to just color, if you act a certain way, they get upset about that.
Yep.
You know, well, why are you acting like that? You know, you act your color, they'll try to say. That's real racist Edomites, okay? We'll basically show you the open racism like that. Okay.
As Job 9:24, it says, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges. I'm looking up covereth. All right. And this is his kingdom. He can have the kingdom because it's going to be destroyed. We're pilgrims here anyway.
Yeah,
we're only here for a certain time.
And that's you know, the main reason why Esau is so, he has the power. He has the power, right? The reason why things are the way they are is because of Esau Edom. The reason why, you know, the whole you know, the whole world basically is living in a way that's against the scriptures is because of who is in power, which is Esau Edom. All right. The reason why the iconoclasm happened was because of Esau Edom. You know, the transatlantic slave trade.
Yep.
Esau Edom. Right. You know, it was other nations, of course, that had a hand in that. All right, but the main one who profited, the main one who you know, basically put down our people, all right, was Esau Edom. See?
Yep. I got a precept too.
Yeah, go ahead.
Is Isaiah, because this is for the guy, because that's a good point, right? But they'll try to say, well, that wasn't me. That was my ancestors. I'm not like that.
Yeah, well, that's 1%.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, they'll try to say that.
I didn't own slaves. I didn't do that. You have the same. You have more rights than me.
But
now.
what happens when you piss off an Edomite? What do?
Yep.
You know, they oh, nigger, that's a nigger.
Yep.
You know, that true nature of the Edomite, you know, comes out.
I think it was I posted a video of the Uber rider. And he said, well, why, you know, you act like a nigger. And then he doubled down and basically commented and said, listen, like, you know, we ain't taking that shit no more.
Yeah. That's all the nations, right? Because even these Hamitic nations, like these Cushites, Ethiopians, you know, they'll say the same thing, right? And our people will think like the whole continent of Africa is our people, you know, which is stupid. Yep. All right, or you know, the other heathens as well. You got the East Indians. You know, it was one viral video. The East Indian, he was like nigger.
Wow.
You know, you know that's
in the Indians.
That's it.
That's the thing about these other nations, bro. That's why the scriptures talking not to throw up. All these other nations, man, are so foul. That's why when you read the scriptures out, it says that the Lord has likened them to the dust that drop it from a bucket. He has likened them on the spittle. He has likened them to dung, to basically shit. Like when you look at these other nations, man, they're fucking foul and filthy and disgusting.
Don't get me started.
And they have the audacity to call us bywords and things and stuff like that.
Don't get me started with some of these so-called Asian nations as well. You know, China. You know, because you'll have a lot of them that are you know, pretty much put Jake up on a pedestal. But you know, for the most part, you know, they hate our people. Yep. You know, we could probably get with their women. You know, because you know, Jake is wanted. You know, you know, but you know, other than that, you know, we're looked at as a laughing stock. You know,
and I mean that's part of the curses, right? That should be a byword, proverb of reproach, right? But it's Isaiah 14:21. It says, prepare slaughter for his children for the iniquity of their fathers. Now, an everyday person, as when we speak this, right, they would automatically assume, like, it's not me, like that. But this is the scripture. The scriptures say this, right? The scriptures have said that for the iniquity of their fathers, that we're supposed to enact judgment on the children, right? That's what the scriptures say, right? For the iniquity of their fathers, all right?
Yeah.
Prepare slaughter for his children for the iniquity of their fathers, that they do not rise, nor possess the land, nor fill the face of the world with cities. That's why when you go back into, what is that, Esdras, when it says that evils were multiplied, or wickedness was multiplied in the earth, it's because you had the king, who's that at the time, man?
Alexander.
Yeah. Alexander and his 4 generals. Had you just killed them all off right then and there, that wickedness wouldn't have multiplied like it did.
Yeah. Yep.
If you would have just killed Alexander the freak and all his generals and all his children, it would have stopped it right there, right? But it was all by will of the Heavenly Father for this to play forth. Yeah. So that's why it was allowed for him to go ahead and push forward. Right, and that's why Job, it talks about in Job that it's given him a appointed time, bounds in which he cannot pass. Right. So he was able to do all this wickedness. He was able to put us in hardcore bondage and slavery, and even now this mental bondage and slavery on us now, only to a point. All right.
Right.
It says that they do not rise nor possess the land nor fill the face of the world with cities. For I will rise up against them, saith Yahweh of hosts, and cut off from Babylon the name of remnant. And son and nephew, say it, Yahweh. So there you go. So the Lord is going to be the one to cut them off, right? And the scriptures talk about how he's going to use his people as well. Okay, I think that's what is that? I think it's 8 and I think it's the precept I'm thinking of right now. The Lord, the saints of the Lord shall take the kingdom. Daniel. Yeah. 7? I think it's 7 and 8. I think that's what I'm thinking. Getting 8 from Daniel 7 and 8. Yeah. So this is old one. We haven't brought this one out in a minute. At least I haven't heard it in a while.
It says Daniel chapter 7 and 17. These great beasts, which are 4, it says, are 4 kings which shall arise out of the earth. It says, but the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom, and possess the kingdom forever, even forever and ever.
There you go. But ultimately, what we teach here and what the scriptures relay and say, we're not going to take it on our own accord, right? We're not here to first off, we're not here to build up our kingdom here in Babylon, and we're not here to do anything before the Lord's time. Okay, so we're not going to go up here and just start beating Esau ass, okay, or beating other nations. What's that? Exactly. That's the end of the day. We don't have the power. The Esau ultimately holds the power, so we got to wait on the Lord to give us that power. Okay, and that's what we're here to do. We're here to be fishers of men, and if we're fishers, we'll be hunters, and we'll get that that power from our Heavenly Father.
Yeah,
which is what we long and wait for.
Yeah, and that's we have to depend on the Lord, right? Because each time, what happened? Jacob's done these different revolts, slave rebellion, Black Wall Street. None of that has worked, right? None of that has worked. All right, but us coming back to Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, seeing the prophecies unfold, having testimonies of the Lord, delivering brothers, seeing, through the spirit and the power of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, these prophecies coming to pass. We know we got it, man. We know this is what's gonna get us over the top, get us into the kingdom, right? Get us our people, where they're supposed to be at, right? Which is rulers, kings, priests, all right. But that it all starts with Yahweh Shai, Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. So
yeah, kind of got a quick one.
Yep, go ahead.
It says Isaiah chapter 40 and 29. It says, He giveth power. 28 says, Hast thou not known? Hast thou not heard that the everlasting power, the Lord Yahweh, says the Creator of all, it's like it says the Creator of the ends of the earth, fainteth not, neither is weary. There's no searching of his understanding. He giveth power to the faint, and to them that have no might, he increaseth strength. It says, even the youths shall faint and be weary, but the young men, it's like it says, and the young men shall utterly fall. But they that wait upon the Lord Yahweh shall renew their strength.
Yep.
It says they shall mount up with wings as eagles.
Yeah.
That's that power we're gonna get. The power comes from the weight, right? For waiting on the Lord. That's where we get that power from.
Right? That's it. Yeah. That's that spiritual power. And when people get it confused, because you know, they always like to talk about, you know, Samson, oh, my power is in my hair and this and that. No, that power came from that covenant, that vow he had with the Lord.
Yeah, and it's funny how people love using Samson, you know, as a reason for why long hair is okay, not even knowing why Samson had long hair. It was a dedication that he had to the Lord, man.
Yeah, that's right.
The Nazarite, but they just completely that's how stupid these people are. Just such a low level to understand, yet people can't even understand it.
Even you know, King David, you know, he knew that the source of his power came from the Lord. You know, it wasn't of his own means, right? His power came from the Lord. You see?
It says Isaiah 40:31, but they that wait upon the Lord Yahweh shall renew their strength. It says they shall mount up with wings as eagles. It says they shall run and not be weary. They should walk and not faint. Yes, so the key point says they that wait. You know, it doesn't say they who, you know, take matters to their own hands and, you know, try to take down use on themselves. No.
How they gonna do that?
Yeah.
No, right? Yep.
Yeah. You know, you have that one guy, Grandmaster Jay. You know, he's pretty much in that spirit.
Oh yeah.
Of, you know, rising up.
He got straight into
yeah. You know, which is.
You're gonna negotiate. You're gonna rise up to negotiate.
Or you got guys, you know, off a target, but remember Sarge from many years ago, he just wanted 1 day, 1 hour for all the Israelites to get together.
Hey, where the hell is he at? He went to school or something?
I forget. I just remember 1 day, 1 hour. He was from North Carolina, right?
Yeah, he said he went to trade school. Like, dumbass, you should have been in fucking trade school. What the fuck is wrong with you, fucking idiot?
1 day, 1 hour. Now all Israel just get together. He said, you put away your differences and you come under one, but there's no way you can come under one banner with these other guys, man. And then to do what? You know, realistically, to do what? Like, we gotta wait upon the Lord anyways, and we're here to seek out the elect anyways. We're not here really to get in league with people that don't believe in the totality of the scriptures, right? That only believe in half truths of the scriptures, or conflate truths or like that, or make hybrid doctrines. Like a lot of these guys, they pull from different camps and they make their own hybrid doctrine out of it. You know, we ain't here to get with them guys, man. We're here to seal the elect, Lord willing. Well, you know, we don't got no say in that. We just try to, you know, plant the seed, right? We're out here to plant the seed, and in doing so, hope to save ourselves and hopefully bringing that lost sheep, like the scriptures talk about. But in all doing that, that's where we wait upon the Lord to get in that ultimate, you know, power.
Yeah, I got a precept as well. Did you finish?
Yeah.
All right. This is the book of Psalms 44:4. It says, "Thou art my king, O Yahweh, command deliverances for Jacob. Through thee through thee will we push down our enemies. Through thy name will we tread them under that rise up against us. For I will not trust in my bow, neither shall my sword save me. But thou hast saved us from our enemies, and hast put them to shame that hated us."
Damn.
There you go. So, you know, we know that the source of our power comes from Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, man. All right, not from our own. All right, you know, because that's at the end of the day, that carnal sword blessing, that's Esau's blessing. And even then, you know, the Lord set him up in position to do what he's doing. You see. But what's gonna happen is, of course, you know, that power shift.
And you gotta understand too, when Esau come down with this RFID hip, the MOTB, right? Like there ain't gonna be no, like the only power we're gonna have is in the Lord Yahweh Shema, exactly. Right? You know, that we ain't gonna try to band together with, you know, these 1776 Edomites that want to, you know, that know that the government's tyranny and this and that. We're not gonna, like, because the only thing that does is you get in league, join hand in hand with the wicked, right? That's all you're doing, and you're trying to continue in your oppression, continue in your slavery. Remember, we have a kingdom outside of this wicked kingdom we're in right now, okay? But we can't get there without without Yahweh Shema Shai and doing the works of the Lord, you know, to be covered and to receive that salvation. That's how we're going to receive that salvation, right? Yep. You know?
Exactly. Like that's like worldly affairs, like the BML protests and
right.
What was the Northern Kingdom, the ICE protests, you know, Trump protests. You know, we don't get involved in that.
Yeah. All these people upset because Donald Trump in office, mainly our people, you know, they're all upset with Donald Trump. They're all trying to vote against him, not realizing that, like, that anybody you vote that's in so-called in unison with your mindset is just to keep you further down, man. They, like I said, Jake has this. They can't see past the slavery that they're in. There's actually other than Stockholm syndrome, right? There's another, I believe it's syndrome like that, where it's like you kind of just like everyone, they just accept, all right, the slavery in which they're in. They can't possibly see outside of it, right? It's like complacent slavery, right? They're just complacent with where they're at. That's all.
Yeah, I got a quick one too. It says 2 Peter chapter 3 and 10, but the day of the Lord will come as a thief in the night, in which the heavens shall pass away with a great noise, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. The earth also and the works that are therein shall be burned up. Yeah, so all the works that are here are going to be burned up. So, yeah, ultimately, well, you're in the completely wrong spirit if, you're looking for the, the continuance of this current kingdom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, this Esau's kingdom. You have pretty much like some podcasters, they might speak about, God this and God that, and, you need to trust in God. But what? Ultimately, these guys are hoping, that this place continues, that Babylon the Great heals. That, this current era, Esau's era, gets better. So that pretty much Esau stays in his rulership.
Yeah, there's no negotiator with this man. All right, there's no middle ground. There's no.
Imagine trying to get in league with the small hats. Talking about, all right, how about this? How about we get our kingdom back? You could have an inheritance with the kingdom. We'll work. No, it ain't gonna be none of that. Ain't gonna be none of that. First off, because we know that the land of Israel is the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and American Indians' land. That's our land.
Yeah.
That they stole. Okay. And we ain't gonna go over there and try to have a treaty with them. And first off, they so high up there, man. They're so high up on cloud nine. They have the world has been given to them, that the only one that can take that authority and power from them is the Most High, because the Most High is the one who put him up in there.
Exactly.
So that's why it's just to say, happy would be to fight against the Most High. Like we're not gonna fight against the Most High's will. That's why it also says he had set it up over the basis of men. So the Lord is the one that set Esau up in his kingdom and has him in rulership. So in order for me, if I'm out there trying to go against the Lord's way and try to seek out my own righteousness, or seek out my own dominion and power and authority, that's fighting against the Most High.
Exactly. And we only do that through preaching, prophesying, right? Giving our good works, unto the Lord, through faith. All right, we're not out here doing stupid shit like burning American flags and marching and doing push-ups everywhere and thinking that's that the Lord ain't dealing with that type of spirit, man. All right, doing church blitzes and shit like that, man. The Lord ain't dealing with that, man.
Plus, that all gives ammo to Esau eat him any damn way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because there's so many rules. There's so many rules and laws that kind of go against us just out here teaching the Bible and stuff like that. They're trying to deem certain things as hate speech, right? When it's not hate speech, it's freedom of speech. But a lot of things that's in these scriptures, it can be deemed as hate speech. That's why you go to YouTube, you try to we use the YouTube as a platform. But that's why there's strict rules on the YouTube platform that they can just flag all your videos and shut that stuff down. So you have to walk on eggshells with YouTube, because if you say the wrong thing to YouTube's guideline, they'll strike your page down, and all that truth that you're speaking will go to nothing. And Esau has these platforms set up, but he has it set up in control. Like he has control over these platforms. If he wants to shut it all down, he can shut it all down.
Yeah, and we go out into the highways and hedges, but the number one tool we have to spread the gospel is the internet.
Yep.
YouTube. How you think we got brothers overseas and brothers in different countries and continents. All right, we weren't taking flights out and just going out and to each. No, we don't have to do that. See, that's why the Lord set up the internet, the unicorn, right?
I got a precept.
Yeah, I got something too. It says John chapter 18 and 10, then Simon Peter, having his sword, drew it and smote the high priest's servant. It says, and cut off his right ear. The servant's name was Malchus. It says, then Yahushua unto Peter, it says, then said Yahushua unto Peter, put up thy sword into the sheath. It says, a cup which my father hath given me, shall I not drink it? Yeah, and that's the point. Ultimately, what Yahushua was in the spirit of, again, what he had to go through. He just had to go through. It's not like Yahushua, tried to come up against the Roman Empire to try to destroy. No, because he understands, or he understood that wasn't the time yet, you know. But ultimately, what we're here, of course, be in captivity, and ultimately to repent back unto Yahweh Shai, and what to do this work, and ultimately to wait upon the Lord to deliver us. You know, we're not supposed to be, we're rising up things ourselves and try to take down, Esau and his kingdom ourselves.
Yeah, we're in a beautiful time, man, because in the height of all this lust and pleasure that's out there, it's really great and beautiful that the Lord has given us a spirit to try to put that, to basically try to put that aside, right? And try to live godly, try to live a righteous lifestyle, right? So that's that mercy period we're in right now, right? So everything that is at, is in wickedness or in lust, to kind of go off and go astray, we pray upon the Lord to keep us on course, right? On to the very end, right? And so we go through all this hell, we see all this fucking shit that makes us mad, all this wickedness that we have to see every day. We go through it in hopes to find favor and find a good sight in the Lord Yahweh Shai, so we can receive that deliverance,
Right.
Yeah, that was it.
This is 2nd Ezra chapter 6. You can break it down. This is 2nd Ezra chapter 6, verse 54. And after these, Adam also, whom thou madest Lord of all thy creatures, of him come we all, and the people also whom thou hast chosen. You gotta understand, that's why there's a lot of reasons why the Apocrypha is no longer in with the King James Version. And I tell this story a lot, me and the brother Debak, right? So we had gotten the, there was, this is probably back in like 2000 and I want to say maybe 14, 2015, I forget, I gotta look it back, but it was the 400-year anniversary of the King James Version Bible. Yep. And it had it in the old text, right? So it had things like, the U's were had the V or like that. It had the old English type of text script. So it was the 400-year anniversary. It was, real cool looking book or like that. And for some reason, for it being a 400-year anniversary King James Version Bible, they decided to exclude the Apocrypha.
Yeah.
So how could they possibly show an anniversary for something but exclude the one thing that makes the King James Version the King James Version? The damn devils, the wicked, man. They surely are the wicked that the Bible speaks of. And that's why the book of Revelations talks about that. If any man take away or add to, like how fucking dare they? But this is one of the reasons why they had to keep this on the outside and try to make it seem like it's not actual text.
Yeah, which, it goes to show Esau's pride, because Esau believes that he's in authority. And the funniest thing is that, it's a lot of people who actually back up Esau from doing that. Not understanding that he's the one who took it out.
And that one, no, I think it was, I don't want to think it was, I don't want to say Cambridge, because I feel like they're the ones that published the original one. But yeah, it probably, whoever published it probably was some new age publisher and decided to take that out. I couldn't imagine Cambridge doing that.
Yeah. Actually, the elder Apostle Gabar, he goes into how it was a group called the Bible Destruction Group.
Yeah, right.
That pretty much decided to take it out.
Yep.
I believe sometime in the 1800s.
Yep. Con. So
in order for them to take it out, so they have to start developing propaganda. Right?
Yep. Exactly. Yep.
Because they don't actually control every printing press company, unless they do. So different companies print Bible.
Yep.
Yeah, they were one of the first groups that decided, said they're gonna, the printing presses that they had control over, they were gonna not print them.
Okay. This is and this one precept I read alone just goes to show you that we all come from Adam, but there's a chosen of the Lord. And the chosen of the Lord comes from the lineage of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Okay, so you gotta understand that Jacob being the progenitor of the 12 tribes of Israel is where the Lord's favor is in. Verse 55. All this have I spoken before thee, O Yahweh, because thou madest the world for our sakes. As for the other people, which also come of Adam, thou hast said that they are nothing, but be like unto spittle.
Yeah, exactly. So Yahweh Shai has created the world for our sakes. So really, what the Lord has created the heathen, really to be our servants, because the Lord has created, again, you can even go back on the Genesis where Jacob has been given the blessing that how all the nations will bow down to him. Showing that Jacob is ultimately Jacob is going to be the kings upon the earth. of course, the people of Jacob, ultimately the Israelites, will be the kings upon earth, above all the nations.
Yep. It says, and has likened the abundance of them unto a drop that falleth from a vessel. So the whole abundance of them, all of them, are likened unto the smallest little thing, just a small little drop that falls from a giant vessel. You basically, once that drop falls on the ground, it immediately absorbs into the concrete. You can't redeem it. There's no reason to redeem it. You just keep on moving, because it's not worth that little bit that just fell for the whole bucket you have, and the whole bucket is Israel, right? We are what the Lord cares about. The drop that falls from a bucket, that's worthless. It's nothing. It's vanity. It's vain. Okay. And now, O Lord, behold, these heathen, which have ever been reputed as nothing, they have always had a reputation of being nothing, have begun to be lords over us and to devour us. But we, thy people, whom thou hast called thy firstborn, the only begotten, and thy fervent lover, are given into their hands. That?
Yeah. Slack, you can read again.
Yep. And now, O Lord, behold, these heathen, which have ever been reputed as nothing, have begun to be lords over us and to devour us.
Yeah, exactly. So the basis of all men is over the nation of Israel, man. Esau pretty much came out of of course, we know that, but the Lord ultimately sent Esau onto the caves. And pretty much now these people are ruling over us. The cave beast.
Yep.
Who once couldn't even speak. They were what?
Job says that. Yeah. Job says that by the needles, by the bushes they braid. Eating juniper roots.
Yeah, exactly.
Juniper roots for their meat. Yeah.
Yeah, they're a beast, and ultimately, all these other nations are beasts, man. So what? It goes to show you that the Lord has put us down, at such a downtrodden state that even the heathen have rule over us.
But we, thy people, whom thou hast called thy firstborn, thy only begotten, thy fervent lover, are given into their hands. And if the world now be made for our sakes, why do we not possess an inheritance with the world? How long shall this endure? And that's the problem with a majority of our people. They don't ask that question. They don't ask if the world was made for our sakes, why are we at such a at the bottom of the pyramid, man? Why do we gotta look up at these skyscrapers and it's Esau Edom at the top, Esau Edom he had set up his nest upon high, like an eagle. Esau is setting up high right now, man, and we just living with the scraps that fall from the table. Instead of wondering, okay, well, what do I need to do, to get the inheritance with the world? Like the scriptures talk about how that kingdom that be on the wide, how can you go to the kingdom without going through the narrow, right? So, and it says that narrow road is like a fiery fire on the right side of you and then deep water on the left, roughly paraphrasing whatever. And it says, how can you get to that kingdom if you go through that perilous times? But our people don't want to do that. They don't want to do the work to get an incorruptible crown. They're too busy trying to get a corruptible crown.
Right.
And their corruptible crown is here in America, or here, or going, in anywhere in the other nations, right? They'll try to go back to Africa, or they'll go, across seas to, live a better life in Taiwan or something like that. Where they get, they'll try to go there because they can get treated a little bit better because their money that they work hard for can go a little further, or whatever the case is, right? But it's still a corruptible crown, man. We're here trying to get and seek after an incorruptible crown, and it first starts with seeking out Yahweh Shema Shai and following these precepts.
Yeah, I got a quick one.
Go ahead. I'm gonna give you this. Like, you can do the magnet if you want to.
Oh.
You got a precept, you said?
No.
Oh, brother got.
Yeah, Val's right.
Yeah, which precept are you gonna bring out?
The bywords and
28:37. You got Deuteronomy 28:37.
Yeah.
Oh, you're gonna read it?
Yeah, got it. Yeah, it says Deuteronomy chapter 28 and 37. Yeah, it says Deuteronomy chapter 28 and 37. It says, and thou shalt become an astonishment, a proverb, and a byword among all nations, whither the Lord Yahweh shall lead thee. Yeah, so it doesn't matter where you go, ultimately you're going to suffer those curses, man. It doesn't matter if you go on the other side of the world.
it talks about a confederacy with you, right? Like Esau has kind of made a confederacy with all the nations. All the nations.
Yeah.
They're at league with each other, so they're all in the position to keep Jake down.
Yeah. So ultimately, it doesn't matter where you go. All these, pretty much what all these nations' a system are designed against you. Yeah, Khan. So read again, Deuteronomy chapter 28:37, and thou shalt become an astonishment, a proverb and a byword among all nations, where the Lord Yahweh shall lead. Yeah, and the one word that all these other nations know, they all know nigga and shit. They call us that. You can go on China. In China, they're calling speed that. If you saw that video. You can go on anywhere with India. You can go anywhere in the world. Everybody knows that word, man. It shows you that the byword has been spread out.
Exactly.
Show on. He knows an insult and he knows the term of the hearing. So, depending on if they're trying to be fucking smart ass or not, they'll use it as an insult, or they trying to, or if they love you, they're saying, oh, I can say that's like a word you guys use, right? Nigger, you use the word nigger. Nigga. So it depends on who you encounter. A lot of those Moabites, they're fucking airheads, stupid motherfuckers. And they basically worshiping I Show Speed, right? Because in the kingdom they're actually going to be doing that. I Show Speed going to show up, and Esau going to bow. Now he going to probably get destroyed because he's just entertainment, just entertainment.
Yeah, he's a straight fool, man, and he's being looked it up. So imagine us.
One thumbnail, I saw him on the ground getting arrested, and he had a bucket of fried chicken next to him. And he had a funny ass face. So you're supposed to click on that thumbnail. That's the psychology, everything. He used every technique to get in there. I Show Speed getting arrested, a crazy face, then a bucket of KFC right next to him.
God, yeah.
Let me see if I can find his latest video, I think.
Yeah, so how much more us, man? Once what Yahweh Shemashai puts us up.
Yep.
What? Us receiving a new perfect bodies, the 144,000.
Yeah.
Live now with 30,000 subscribers. 30,000 people watching.
Yeah, even Jake, like, cause I Show Speed, he'll have certain fans from China, or you got these different artists. They'll have these sellout shows in these different countries and such. But that's still low level, man. That's still we're still the bottom of the barrel. Deep down, they still know, like, all right, he just a nigga, but he sings good or rap good, or he has an exceptional talent because he's a Jake, and that's how it is.
But but really, it's really none of our people you can look at. Oh, he's a king of this place. He's a ruler of this land.
Right.
You can't look at any of our people. Oh no, he's one of the best in the NBA. He's one of the best in NFL.
You look at a nigga right now, the #1 artist, NBA YoungBoy. What that dude? He just a nigga. He just came out of jail. He on drugs. All right, but people are fond to his music. Which he just rap about folly pretty much anyway.
Yeah.
So
never broke again, or does that mean, or no?
Never broke again.
Never broke again.
Yeah.
They didn't have a song. They helped. Never broke again. Never broke again.
Yeah.
Join the end.
But because he got it like a catchy hook or something.
Never broke again.
But
yeah, which what when it actually comes to real, actual status, like power, land, just again, or going back to the ancient times, where they cattle, what was a form of power, or pretty much your cattle, your land, your status within a society, that's really the things that matter. But again, when you look at our people, the best things that the best of our people are considered to be, the top people in sports. When you look at Esau, you think about what Jeff Bezos, you think about Bill Gates, you think about Tim Cook, you think about all these people who have what, the top people in these companies,
like
Donald Trump,
like businessmen.
Businessmen. Yeah, and our people, we're just the best people in the circus, the bread and
the bread and circus. People look up to Jay-Z and Beyonce. Meanwhile they're just the biggest sellouts, man. You know, with tapping in the left-handed spirits. You know, Beyonce is probably like, you know, the biggest witch there is. You know, Rihanna. You know, they worship these people like idols. You know, false. You know, that's why they call these people idols. You know, saying, "Oh, this is my idol." You know, you shouldn't be saying that. You know.
Con, so to get real quick, you got something?
No, you got it.
Con. So this is Isaiah. Oh wait, yeah, I believe we just read this, but I guess yeah, through the Spirit. It says Isaiah chapter 14:1. For the Lord Yahweh will have mercy on Jacob and will yet choose Israel and set them in their own land. It says, and a stranger shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob. Yeah, so the Lord have mercy on Jacob and yet choose Israel. Of course, that's the Lord's true people. But again, links up today be so-called blacks, Native Americans, Latinos. And of course, what it says, and the strangers shall be joined with them. Yeah, and as well as, you know, the foreigners, Israelite foreigners. So yeah, you know, of course, also, you know, the ones who have been scattered amongst these other nations. It says, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob. It says, and the people shall take them and bring them to their place, and the house of Israel shall possess them, and the land of the Lord Yahweh for servants and handmaids. It says, and they shall take them captives, whose captives they were, and they shall rule over their oppressors. Yeah, exactly. So it's gonna come very, very soon. What Esau is seeing the end of his world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that follows. So very, very soon the beginning of our world is going to begin, which is going to be when we have full power, over Esau and these other nations. That's where Yahushua is coming back. He's coming back to, of course, to take down the other nations and to set up our people above everybody.
Yeah?
Yeah, Khan.
Isaiah 60:10 says, and build Banya, sons, Nakar, strangers. You got Kamathayaka, which means walls. Sons of strangers are going to build up our walls. Alright? It's Isaiah 60:10. And the sons of strangers shall build up thy walls, and their kings shall minister unto thee. For in my wrath I smote thee, but in my favor I have had mercy on thee. Therefore thy gates shall be open continually, they shall not be shut day nor night, that men may bring unto thee the forces of the Gentiles, and that their kings may be brought. For the nation and kingdom that will not serve thee shall perish. Those nations shall be utterly wasted, but that's not going to happen. But they're going to serve. They're going to serve. We got Ibad. We got Yah, Ibad, Waka. Alright? Yah, Ibad, Waka. Serve thee. Or serve you. He serve you, roughly?
Yeah, Yaka, plural, plural, second person.
Yeah, so they're going to be our slaves. All right, so this prophecy has not been done away with, and this is prophecy. It tells you that all of them shall come to pass, not one of them shall fail. Find that real quick. Not one of them shall fail. So we'll read it again. Isaiah 60:12. For the nation and kingdom that will not serve thee. So it didn't even have to say serve. So you go to the 10th verse, and the sons of strangers shall build thy walls. That's slavery, that's service. And their kings shall minister unto thee. For in my wrath I smote thee, but in my favor have I had mercy upon thee. Yeah. And so, Hosea 1, yet the number of the children of Israel shall be as the sand of the sea. And in the place where it was said, ye are not my people, there you should be called the sons of the living God.
Yeah. Yeah, hey, and you know that right there is true status. You know, what being a king over other people, over everybody else, man. That right there is, you know, true status isn't being able to dunk from the free throw line, and being the top scorer in the NBA. No, true status is being a king over all other people, man. That's true status.
Right, when you look up Hosea, it's La'ah, I'm Yah, not my people. And the other one is no mercy. All right, La'ah, I'm Yah, not my people. So that's where it was said, for in my wrath I smote thee. La'ah, I'm Yah. La'ah means no or not. I'm Yah, it's people my people. Isaiah 60:10. So this is the prophecy about the nations going into slavery, serving the Israelites, serving us. Donald Trump, he gonna be young again, or he might be an old, decrepit bastard, or depending on what the Lord want to do. But serving us. The Lord could put him in an old body and sustain him for 500 years. And then
his body getting worse and worse.
And then kill him, and then he just die. Or he could live for 40 years, die, be reincarnated to a son, and a son, or it'd be several generations of Donald Trump, son of several generations of Bidens, Thomas Jefferson, the so-called Indian killer, that devil, Benjamin Franklin's, you know, Andrew Jackson, did I say that right? Andrew Jackson, the Indian Removal Act.
George Washington's, or the Washington line, we're gonna know all that.
Yeah, succession of those lines with his sons.
Yeah.
All right, and so the Lord didn't have mercy, so he said, you're not our people. And then the other one, it said, what's the Hebrew for no mercy? Look it up, Hosea 1.
Yeah.
It's I'm Yah, for not my people. And I haven't read this in a while. I would not have mercy. All right, because there was a time period where the Lord said he took away the mercy. So we were sold to slavery, and if we weren't sold to slavery, we were scattered and hid in the nations. What is it?
It says Hosea 1:6, and she conceived again and bare a daughter, and the Most High said unto him, call her name Laruhamah.
So what's that in Hebrew?
It says in the Hebrew, La'ah Rachama, which means no mercy. Racham being what it says to love deeply, be compassionate, have tender affection.
So no love,
yeah.
No affection,
no compassion.
Hence in the English, or another way of saying it, having no mercy. All right, or no love, showing no love. But then you jump down to the 10th verse. Read the 10th verse.
It says verse 10. It says, yet the number of the children of Israel shall be as the sand of the sea, which cannot be measured nor numbered. It says, and it shall come to pass that in the place where it was said unto them, you are not my people, there should be said unto them, you are the sons of the living power.
Yeah, there when the Lord said he didn't love us, when the Lord turned his back on us, when the Lord said, not my people, there we're gonna have the name of the Most High on us again. Yashar Allah, Israel, right, from our different tribes. Right, and the nations are gonna be under the feet of the Israelites, but first they're going to be under the feet of Yahweh Shai first. All right? Yahweh Shai going to put them under his feet, and then we're going to inherit the kingdom of Yahweh Shai. All right? Because we're the brothers of Yahweh Shai. We're his sons and his brothers at the same time. All right? Similar to how you can call like your best friend that's of your own nation anyway, amongst Israel, uncle, even though he's not he's a friend of the family. Going uncle.
Yeah, or you can say cuz.
Yeah, or cuz, but he's not directly related to you, but he's of your same nation now. So amongst our people, we might say uncle, because he's a friend of the family. He's a very close friend of the family. We call him uncle, or aunt, auntie, or cousin. All right. What else we got?
I got some.
Isaiah 34:6.
Yeah.
Oh, you got that?
Yeah. It says, seek ye out of the book of the Lord and read. No one of these shall fail, none shall want her mate, for my mouth it hath commanded, and his spirit it hath gathered them.
And his spirit hath gathered them. Okay, so the spirit, read it again.
It's Isaiah 34:16. Seek ye out of the book of the Lord and read. No one of these shall fail, none shall want her mate, for my mouth it hath commanded, and his spirit it hath gathered them.
All right, so what's going to come to pass? Can't you read up? Doesn't say this word was bathed in heaven or something like that? Talking about the nuclear fire. Isaiah 34. Reading. You start at 16th verse.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
verse 5. Verse 5. Yeah.
So
What's up?
start from the 5th verse.
Isaiah 34:5.
No, matter of fact, start from the 3rd verse.
Isaiah 34:3.
Start from the 1st verse.
Isaiah 34:1. Come near, ye nations, to hear, and hearken, ye people. Let the earth hear, and all that is therein, the world, and all things that come forth of it. For the indignation of the Lord is upon all nations, and his fury upon all their armies. He hath utterly destroyed them. He hath delivered them to slaughter.
Now, this proves that in the last day of Esau ruling, all the world's armies are going to be put they're all going to be destroyed because they're all wicked. All the world's armies are going to be destroyed. They're all evil. All right, it's not just talking about one army's nation. It's talking about the world's armies. They're going to be gathered into the place called in the Hebrew tongue Armageddon or Armageddon in Hebrew. Armageddon in the Greek, I believe. They didn't say, oh, just China and the Arabs, but those are the wicked. No, that's what Esau said. Oh, Chinese, they're communists. The Arabs, oh, they hate the so-called Jays. So that's all the evil stuff in the Bible is talking about them. The Chinese, the Russians, and the Arabs. No, it's talking about all the world's armies. Chinese, Russians, the so-called Jays, Americans, British, French, all the world's armies that have the capability to take flight, missiles, power, they're going to be gathered into the war of Armageddon. And you have the bigger nations. All right? Especially if you're a nuclear power. All right? Those are the main nations that are going to be over there in the Middle East, mainly Russia and the different European powers. China, they got the nuclear missiles. All right? If they're not physically over there, they're going to have to shoot their missiles over there. All right? Because if they have nuclear powers, they were meant to be used. India, Pakistan, Iran, if they ever get it, you know, some people say they got it, some people say they don't. All right, so so-called Jays, they apparently have nuclear weapons. Those are going to be used in the day of Armageddon, the last day. When the missiles are shot, that's when the war is going to end. As soon as the missiles are shot, the war is going to be over. All right, consider it.
Isaiah 34:3. Their slain also shall be cast out, and their stink shall come up out of their carcasses, and the mountains shall be melted with their blood. And all the hosts of heaven.
That's a world war. It's not a war in America or a war in Britain. That's the war of Armageddon. Gonna take place in the so-called Middle East. Go ahead.
Isaiah 34:4. And all the hosts of heaven shall be dissolved, and the heavens shall be rolled together as a scroll.
Yeah, that's the nuclear bomb swirling up the air. All right, and then the fireball and the smoke enfolding in on itself. Fire enfolding in on itself. Go ahead.
Yep. Isaiah 34:4. And all the hosts of heaven shall be dissolved, and the heavens shall be rolled together as a scroll, and all their hosts shall fall down, as the leaf falleth off from the vine, and as a falling fig from the fig tree. For my sword shall be bathed in heaven. Behold, it shall come down upon Idumea, and upon the people of my curse to judgment.
Yeah, upon Idumea. So we know in the last days, Edom, Adawam, or Edom, how so-called Jay say, Edom, Esav, say Esav, you say Shashua, but they say Esav. They're going to be in the Third World War. They're going to be in the war of what we call Armageddon, or Armageddon in the Hebrew. In the Greek it would be Armageddon. What?
Isaiah 34:6. The sword of the Lord is filled with blood. It is made fat with fatness, and with the blood of lambs and goats, with the fat of the kidneys of rams. For the Lord hath a sacrifice in Bozrah, and a great slaughter in the land of Idumea.
Right. So we know it's not talking about only the land of Idumea. It's talking about Babylon, America. All right, where Idumea built up his greatest nation. All right, but the land of Idumea, which is Israel proper, including I guess we'd say parts of Idumea, because Idumea was technically a little farther south than the borders of Israel. But that whole land of Israel is going to be completely burnt up. All right, with all those Edomites and mixed nations in them, and Israelites in them. It's going to be burnt to hell up, and Babylon, America. Right? They'll be burnt to hell up. Completely burnt up. Read the verse again.
Yep. This is the book of Isaiah 34:6. The sword of the Lord is filled with blood. It is made fat with fatness, and with the blood of the lambs and goats, with the fat of the kidneys of rams. For the Lord hath a sacrifice in Bozrah, and a great slaughter in the land of Idumea.
Yeah, meaning the people of those lands are going to be burnt on in a fire. They'll be burnt in a fire. All right? So it's not talking about the Lord taking an animal, slaughtering a goat or a sheep or an ox. It's not talking about that. It's referring to the people that are there, that are dwelling in those lands. They're going to be burnt up in fire. What some say, what, 1,000,000 degrees Fahrenheit? 1,000,000 degrees Fahrenheit, or it might be more. All right? That's going to burn and totally dilapidate, turn every inch of Babylon, America, the land of Israel, into powder. All right? Tar, pitch, what?
Isaiah 34:7. And the unicorn shall come down with them, and the bullocks with the bulls, and their land shall be soaked with blood,
Chariots, go ahead.
and their dust made with fatness. For
Yeah,
it is
that's the actual destruction that did not come to pass yet. You got some people that say, oh, all the prophecies came to pass yet. They call that something. It's a certain phrase they have for it. Or they believe all the prophecies came to pass. So if all the prophecies came to pass, where the hell is the kingdom of heaven at? So such a contradiction. All right? It's an obvious contradiction. The kingdom of heaven is total pleasure, bliss, happiness for the children of Israel. All right? Total maximum pleasure. That's how the kingdom's going to be. You're not going to want or have a sad day except for that one day. All right? Scripture say, wipe away all tears from all of our eyes. All right? It says, wipe away tears from all eyes. Get that precept, that precept. It's in Revelations, wipe away tears from all eyes. How we know it's not talking about everybody? Easy, because the nations are going into slavery. It tells you that in Revelation 2:25 on down. The nations are going into slavery. The Israelites are not. Not one Israelite is going into slavery. Got it?
It says Revelation chapter 21:1. It says, and I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth were passed away, and there was no more sea. It says, and I, John, saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down from the Most High. It says, out of heaven, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. It says, and I heard a great voice out of heaven saying, behold, the tabernacle of the Most High is with men. It says, and he will dwell with them. It says, and they shall be his people, and Most High shall be with them. It says, and be their power. It says, and Most High shall wipe away all tears from their eyes. It says, and it says, it's lucky. It says, and the Most High shall wipe away all tears from their eyes, and there shall be no more death, neither sorrow nor crying, neither shall there be any more pain, for the former things are passed away.
Yeah, look up tears.
So it says tears in the Greek is the Greek word Gad-Troop, or Gad-Troop. It says, well, yeah, that's all it says, just tear.
Tear, okay, tear. Well, they didn't go in description. But yeah, tears will represent, you being in a state of mourning. There's going to be no more mourning, no more pain and suffering. All right? Is that it?
That was
it. All right, go back to Isaiah 34.
Isaiah 34:8. For it is the day of the Lord's vengeance, and the year of recompenses for the controversy of Zion, and the streams thereof shall be turned into pitch, and the dust thereof into brimstone, and the land thereof shall become burning pitch.
Yeah, so that Babylon, America is going to become a lake of fire. The land of Israel is going to become a lake of fire. Because that land has been polluted, so it has to be cleansed by fire. Right? It has to be cleansed with the blood of them that shed it. That's as said the law. But the land is not cleansed, save but by the blood of them that shed the blood. The land is not cleansed, save the blood be shed, whoever shed the innocent blood, or shed the blood of the Lord's anointed. Whether we were innocent or not, we're still the Lord's anointed. All right, that's why David couldn't kill Saul. Because Saul was anointed by the Lord to be king over Israel. Israel's second king. And David was the third king. Moses was tells you Moses was made king in Jeshurun, somewhere in Numbers or Deuteronomy. All right. You have one?
God, I got the Numbers.
Yeah, go ahead.
God, so Numbers chapter 35 and 33. So you should not pollute the land wherein ye are. It says, for blood it defileth the land, and the land cannot be cleansed of the blood that is shed therein, but by the blood of him that shed it.
Right. So Esau Edom's blood has to be spilled. The only way he can really truly repent, and then he's going to be destroyed. All right. So he's going to be sorry for what he did, and then he's going to get burnt to hell up. He's going to be done away with, because he's going to be in slavery, being constantly punished over and over and over again. They're going to be such a destroyed state. Their spirit going to be broken, then they're going to be destroyed. Right? That's going to be their end. So it makes sense for Esau Edom to have as much power as he can in this system. That's why he's going to bring in the MOTB, the mark of the beast, and that's going to be his ultimate control, tyranny, as they call it. All right? And that's going to last for a little while. All right? Not going to be long. As it is written, Yahushua said, except those days be shortened, there'll be no flesh left to be saved. But Yahushua going to shorten it. Yahushua going to shorten the days. All right, these days are past. It's 2025 already. Right, we can feel the day go. All right.
Con, got something. It said, Lamentations chapter 4 and 21. It says, rejoice and be glad, O daughter of Edom. It says, that dwellest in the land of Uz. It says, the cup also shall pass through unto thee, and thou shalt be drunken. It says, and make thyself naked. Yeah, exactly. So what?
Exposed.
Yeah.
Yep, cottage in the vineyard. Easily your cross. You're gonna wear your cross, not for salvation, though, but you're gonna wear that cross for your destruction.
Yeah. So what? Ultimately, hey, Esau being at the very end of his kingdom, he should be rejoicing, because hey, after this kingdom, that's gonna be it. You're gonna be in what 100% hardcore bondage under the Israelites. It says, verse 22, Lamentations chapter 4, it says, the punishment of thine iniquity is accomplished, O daughter of Zion. He will no more carry thee away into captivity. He will visit thine iniquity, O daughter of Edom. He will discover thy sins. Yeah, we're at that point where, of course, what? Yahushua is going to come back to save, ultimately the elect. Because, the Lord's only coming back to save the elect. The ones which are going to be, of course, the ones who repent.
Discover thy sins. This is one of the major sins. Putting up a false image. Right? And all the demonic evil things that came from our people worshiping this false image, and the other nations worshiping this false image. Right? A lot of evil came from this.
Yeah,
a whole lot of evil.
Yeah. Well, actually, if you look up the most popular figure in the whole, all history is obviously that image, Jesus. The second one is Michael Jackson. So the first one is Jesus. Everybody knows Jesus, but they know him by that image. You portraying the Son of Most High to be this image right here, and but pretty much the majority of people believe him to look like that. That's what a great sin.
Yeah, I know they say he was black, but where does it say in the scriptures? Well, you're an idiot. You're gonna look it up yourself. He was dark brown skin. He was dark. He was same color as Solomon. Solomon said, "I am black and beautiful." All right, we can get that. Finish reading. You done with that? What you're reading?
That's it.
All right, go finish Isaiah and then go get Songs of Solomon.
This is Isaiah 34 and 10. It says, it shall not be quenched night nor day. The smoke thereof shall go up forever. From generation to generation it shall lie waste. None shall pass through it forever and ever. But the cormorant and the bittern shall possess it. The owl also and the raven shall dwell in it. And
that's what John got it from in Revelation. All right, when it's called Babylon being destroyed. Revelation 18, I believe it links up with, and other chapters. All right, go ahead.
Yep, and it says, and he shall stretch out upon it the line of confusion and the stones of emptiness.
Line of confusion. So it's going to be totally destroyed. You're not going to be able to know where America started and ended. Save, it's going to be an outline of a burning fire. You'll technically be able to see it because of that. But where everything was, you know how when you destroy, tear a building down, you start forgetting what was there? You know?
Yeah.
That's how it's going to be. You ain't going to be able to tell where exactly the Empire State Building was, where exactly Times Square was, where exactly Rodney Square was down there. All right. Go ahead.
Yes. Verse 12, they shall call the nobles thereof to the kingdom, but none shall be there, and all her princes shall be nothing. And thorns shall come up in her palaces, nettles and brambles in the fortresses thereof, and there shall be an habitation of dragons, and a court for owls. The wild beasts of the desert shall also meet with the wild beasts of the island.
Now, this is after the fire goes out. So Isaiah saw the visions of Babylon, the wicked kingdom, that the Edomites are going to be ruling in the last days. They're going to be the most powerful nations on earth. All right. They're going to be the so-called wisest nations on earth, and they're the wicked. All right. So Isaiah saw that. John saw that. What?
Yep, Isaiah 34:14, the wild beasts of the desert shall also meet with the wild beasts of the island, and the satyr shall cry to his fellow, the screech owl also shall rest there, and find for herself a place of rest. There shall the great owl make her nest, and lay and hatch, and gather under her shadow. There shall the vultures also be gathered, everyone with her mate. Seek ye out the book of the Lord and read, none of these shall fail, none shall want her mate, for my mouth it hath commanded, and his spirit it hath gathered them. And he hath cast a lot for them.
None shall want her mate, meaning that you can't, not gonna be able to use. There's no other doctrine that can measure up to the Bible, the so-called the laws, the prophecies, the wisdom of our prophets and teachers. There's no other book that can equal it. All right. There's no other people on the planet doing what we do. Because consistently telling you about these things that are going to happen. All right, and that are successful at it, and that has continued. All right, and that are multiplying. All right, nobody else is doing it. They're gathered. Other people are gathered in buildings. They have a unity thing. We don't preach unity. We preach supremacy. Because we're the biblical Israelites that are going to be the masters of the universe. Right? And our doctrine is above every doctrine on the earth. Because the wisdom that we teach is actually going to last. It's going to survive everything. It's going to survive AI, supercomputers. Right? The highest efficiency data transfers, a terabyte a second, that's all going to perish. The wisdom that we speak is going to continue forever. Even we're in a weak state now, but our words that we speak are going to they're never going to stop. All right? Even when you arrest us, put it to death, the spirit, scriptures say that spirit is going to lift up a standard against them or against them. All right? So the word of Yahushua cannot be hindered. All right? And now it was dormant for a while, now it woke back up. And you can't stop it. All right? It's already in the minds of the elect. I'll continue.
Isaiah 34:17, and he hath cast a lot for them, and his hand hath divided it unto them by line. They shall possess it forever. From generation to generation shall they dwell therein. That's it.
Yeah. Generation to generation they dwell therein. All right. So you got two parts. You got the the owls, the bitter creatures, they're going to be here forever. All right, America's never going to be inhabited again. And then you got the kingdom. All right, the scripture says that the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom and possess it forever and ever and ever. All right, and America's never going to be built back up. It's going to be a desert where desert animals are going to be dwelling in. All right, so as the scripture say, devils going to be dwelling in. Satires, certain different nomadic desert-like creatures are going to be dwelling here in America. And the biblical Israelites, so-called Black, Latino, Native Americans, and our people scattered within the other nations, we're going to be dwelling throughout the whole earth, really. But we're going to have our own area, and we're going to have more land to dwell in. Remember, we got North, Central, and South America that was technically our land. So it's likely there's going to be more land on Earth, and we're going to possess other planets. Right? Because the full force of Israel, the true Israelites, are going to come back to the Earth. That's it. Where's you at?
Gone, Psalms.
Yeah, Psalms. They will end it right there. We're going to break Psalms, 4th chapter. Go ahead.
Gone, it says Songs of Songs, or Song of Solomon, chapter 1. It says, I am black but comely, O ye daughters of Jerusalem, as the tents of Kedar, as the currents of Solomon.
Right, so when you read that in the Hebrew, it says, I am black and beautiful.
It says,
as the tents of Kedar. Right?
It says, Shachawarya, or it's like Shachawara. It says, yeah, Shachawara Anya. So I am black. So going to that word, the Hebrew, it says Shachar, which means, literally black, jetty, dusky.
Right, and I believe in the Greek the word there is melania.
It says, in the Greek, this one, right?
Yeah, melania, and it breaks down the root melis. Right, but melania is a word there, which means brown or black. Right, it was referring to a person, so it's brown color. All right, so Solomon said he's a brown man. All right, then he says as the tents of Kedar. All right, so look up Kedar. Look it up in everywhere where it's used. And it shows up in Genesis the first time, and then
Genesis, First Chronicle, Psalm.
And it should say black-skinned man. If you saw, they take it out of there. So read the scripture and then go into the word. It used to say black-skinned man or dark-skinned man, and years ago, like 15 years ago, I don't know what it says. We're gonna read everything in there.
So it says, Song of Solomon 1:5. It says, I am black but comely, O ye daughters of Jerusalem, as the tents of Kedar, as the currents of Solomon. So good, the word for Kedar, it says Quadar, which means it says dark. It says dusky of the skin or tent. Well, you saw. Well, let's see what dusky means in the dictionary.
It'll mean dark, but Well, yeah, it means
it says darkish in color.
Dark, yeah. Solomon said he's brown, dark brown. All right, so Solomon looked just like Yahweh Shai.
Oh yeah. It says, so it says it's a data definition, or it says for the data definition, it says use and it says a euphemistic or a poetic reference to black or other dark-skinned people. It says the reference or the example used, it says a dusky Moorish maiden. So hey, I mean, it's all a good word then to use.
Yeah, dusky. Yeah, you should say black-skinned man on it. They may have took it out, or they may have to look for it. But yeah, all those other words that he used support being dark brown skin, and black is just basically like a newer term.
Yeah, make sure you spell that.
But when we use the word black, it refers to a person. What we mean is dark, very dark skin, dark brown skin. All right, when the Bible uses the word black referring to a person, it's referring to very dark brown skin. Like no person is actually black. All right. Now, when it talks about Laban, all right, I believe Sarah and Rachel and Leah's brother or father, it's not talking about a skin color. Because Laban means white. There's no such thing as a white person, all right, or a pale flesh Hebrew. No such thing as a pale flesh Hebrew. Hebrew from the chosen line, all right. Well, really, there is no one, because the pale flesh didn't come back until Esau. So there's no such thing as a pale flesh Hebrew. All right, back then there were pale flesh Hebrews now. All right, but back then there was no pale flesh Hebrews. You had Cain and his succession; they all died in the flood, and put an end to all the pale fleshes. All right, Japhet was not pale flesh. Japhet was brown. All right. All right, continue. So we got Melania, which means brown, black, which means dark brown skin or brown skin. All right. Then you got what's the Hebrew? Shakawar.
Yes, it's a Shachawara.
Shakawara. All right. Which means dark skin, dark brown or black. All right. Referring to a person, it can't actually be black. It's referring to dark brown skin, referring to a color or object. All right, you would say like black, Shakor. But like, okay, what shade of Shakor? Is it that color or is it brown? All right, so then you get specific based upon what you're talking about. Person, dark, darker, or lighter. That's how you can differentiate. Or you keep it simple, you just say Shakawara.